Hello, my name is Karen Edwards and I'm a storyteller from Carnlough in the Glens of Antrim. At the minute, because of coronavirus, I'm out on Owie Island, which is an island off the northwest coast of Donegal, and it's a great place for stories. There's no electricity and therefore you get peace and quiet to record your stories, work on your stories or whatever. Well, the story I'm going to tell you is about a farmer called Willie who lived in Fermanagh. Willie was a sort of a small scale farmer. He had a couple of ducks, a couple of geese, a few cows. He didn't really bother with crops or anything like that, just kept life simple. But life was hard for Willie. He wasn't married, and when he went out into the farm to do his chores every day and came back in the evening, he had to make his own dinner. It was also during the war, and that brought its own hardship. But the organisation called the Milk Marketing Board were the bane of farmers' lives. Many of you may be familiar with it. And if they weren't going to buy your produce, they would send you out a letter with a series of tick boxes at the bottom. And the reason for why they weren't going to buy your produce would be designated by whichever box was ticked. Well, Willie wasn't terribly well educated. He could just about write his own name, and he definitely couldn't read very well. And one of the letters had arrived on Willie's mat. He couldn't read it. He brought it out into the lane to his neighbour Maud Maneely. Here, Maud, could you give us a hand to read this letter? Aye, surely, Willie, give us a look at it here. Oh, Willie, it says here they're not going to buy your milk. There's a foreign body in it. A foreign body? How and under God could there be a foreign body in my milk? And Maud had to explain to Willie that a foreign body could be the tiniest speck of dirt or the tiniest hair, and that would be enough to put the Milk Marketing Board off. Well, Willie wasn't exactly pleased, but he was at least content to know the reason why, but he had a good sense of humour. The next day, one of the neighbours, "Hey, Willie, have you any idea where the Germans are today?" No, I've no idea where they are today, but there was one of them in my milk churn yesterday." Well, the neighbours decided that the best thing that they could do for Willie was to get him married, because that would make his life so much easier. He would have somebody to cook for him, someone to help him out the farm. Don't forget, it was the old days whenever female or women's equality didn't exist. So to that end, they got Willie all dressed up. They got a fine tweed suit put on him. They got shoes shone, face scrubbed, hair combed, and they took him off to the dancing temple. Willie went into the dance hall. And of course, in those days, all the women were lined along one side of the hall, all the men along the other, and ne'er the twain shall meet till near the end of the night. But Willie's eyes lit on a wee girl from Belfast. The neighbours were raging. "She'll not do, Willie. You need a big strong lug of a country lass that can help you about the farm. She's too thin." Willie was not being deterred. He asked the Belfast girl to dance. They danced all night. He walked her home, and before too long, the pair of them were walking out together. And not long after that, the subject of matrimony arose. Now, the two ideas of a wedding were very different. Willie thought you could just go and tie the knot. It would take about 10 minutes and everything would be done. You'd be back on the farm doing your chores in no time. The Belfast girl had a very different idea. What she was interested in was, would there be a good do? I mean, a really good do, grand scale, hotel the works, no expense spared. She was also interested to know, would there be a honeymoon? Now, Willie had heard about the new moon, and he knew about the full moon, and he'd even heard tell of the harvest moon, but he'd never heard of this honeymoon. And he sort of worried about it, and then he thought, oh, I'll not let it annoy me. I'm sure it'll sort itself out. And so the arrangements progressed. Then one day he was coming home from the market in Enniskillen, and there in the sky was a beautiful big orange disc of a moon. I know what it is. It's just the fancy talk of those Belfast ones. She means the harvest moon. Sure, we could sort that. So everything was arranged for the wedding. And the day of the wedding dawned. The bridesmaids had all been arranged. The hotel had been booked. The best man was sorted. The best man called at the farm for Willie. "Hey, Willie. Willie, are you there?" No sign of Willie. He went out to the bar. "Willie, where are you?" Still no sign of Willie. Down to the bottom field, not a trace of him to be found. He came back up to the house, and he was just about to give up and go on when heard a sort of a thistle down in the bottom room. He went down. There was Willie, under the bed. Will you get out here now? You're going to marry that wee girl from Belfast. You're not going to let her down. And he got him dressed and trailed him off to the hotel. Everything went ahead according to plan. The bride was delighted. The hotel was superb. The dinner was to die for. Everything just couldn't have been better. Willie thought there'd been easier days digging turf in the bog than this wedding malarkey. It just seemed to go on and on and on till he was exhausted. But finally, the end of the reception came and it was time to go home. The bride was a bit disappointed that there was no talk of the honeymoon, but I'll not rock the boat. I've had a great day. I'm sure it'll sort itself at a later stage. And so the pair of them set off for home. By the time they got home, of course, Willie still had all his chores to do. And by the time they were done, it was bedtime. So up the stairs the pair of them went. She got into one side of the bed. He got into the other. Oh boy, was he knackered. He just put his head on the pillow and he was about to doze off when dunt in the ribs. Willie, I'm cold. Oh, now hold on a wee minute, Mary. I've a spare blanket in the dresser. I'll get it now. And he got up and he got the spare blanket. He tucked it in round under her feet, patted her down, back in round in the side of the bed, lay down for the second time, just dozing off. Oh, Willie, I'm still cold. Oh, Mary, hold on now, hold on. He was very good. He didn't let any impatience show, not one jot. Down the stairs he went, boiled the kettle, made a hot water bottle, brought it back up, put it in under her feet, tucked the blanket in round, was thinking to himself, surely, God, that'll be her till the morning. Back in round to the side of the bed, and in he got. Oh, he'd never been as tired in his life. He was in that zone, between sleep and wakefulness. And the next thing, Willie, I'm still freezing. And when I was cold at home, my mama used to give me a hug. Mary, I don't mind getting you a spare blanket from the dresser. And I don't mind getting you a hot water bottle. But I am not going to Belfast tonight for your mother. And that's my story of Willie the farmer. Thank you.